Get ready for the action because Marvel Comics is dropping a massive new series this August. We are diving deep into the terrifying reign of Kylo Ren with the brand new Star Wars, the Fall of Kylo Ren comic book series. Find out what changes this new storyline brings to this dark chapter in the saga and why you absolutely cannot miss this launch. The US and China relationship. Find out what she warned about concerning a united European Union and the shifting world order. Finally, we shift focus to the creative world as comic artist Lee Garbett shares his biggest challenge and his secret weapon for making Daredevil his own. Learn how Marvel gave him the freedom to cook and what his expert advice is for aspiring artists as he prepares for MCM Comic Con London this weekend. Don't forget to subscribe to our app for the latest news. Marvel Comics is set to delve deeper into the dark narrative surrounding Kylo Ren with the upcoming launch of a new comic book series titled Star Wars, The Fall of Kylo Ren, scheduled for August. The new series promises an expanded exploration of the character's tumultuous journey and reign. The series features a cover illustration by Phil Noto, with a variant cover by Luke Ross also being highlighted. This new installment marks a significant expansion in Marvel's ongoing storytelling concerning the Star Wars universe and its central conflict. Marvel Comics' journey to becoming a global entertainment juggernaut is deeply rooted in its comic book history, with the Silver Age marking a pivotal era that forged many of its most enduring legends. Beginning in 1956, following DC Comics' expansion into sci-fi, Marvel entered the fray in 1961 with Fantastic Four-1, a seminal work by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby that captivated audiences. This period is highlighted as the time when some of Marvel's greatest characters reached their zenith, their early adventures defining their iconic status. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, was at his finest during the Silver Age. He was portrayed as the quintessential American Cold Warrior, leveraging his intellect to strive for a better world, solidifying his role as a beloved leader and father figure. Kang the Conqueror exemplifies the hyperbolic, over-the-top villainy characteristic of the era. Writers like Stan Lee and Roy Thomas crafted him as a bombastic antagonist, whose complex, often misguided plans and raging arrogance defined his campy villainy. Hank Pym also flourished during this time. As one of Marvel's earliest superheroes, Pym's abilities, manipulating size and communicating with insects, positioned him as a cutting-edge scientist utilizing American ingenuity to save the day, making him a crucial Avenger. Rick Jones stands out as one of the era's finest sidekicks. Appearing in The Incredible Hulk 1, this teen beatnik became an integral part of the Avengers, serving as a key associate and even donning Bucky's costume, becoming a cornerstone of the Silver Age Marvel universe. The Fantastic Four, particularly Ben Grimm, reached a legendary status. As the Thing, his struggles navigating his new life and developing his relationship with Alicia Masters brought a level of poignancy and tragedy that cemented his place as a legend. Iron Man's peak, according to comic historians, occurred during the Silver Age. Tony Stark perfectly embodied the Cold War ideal of American exceptionalism. As an arms-dealing engineer turned hero, his narrative offered a compelling redemption story that resonated deeply with the simpler, ideologically driven world of the 1960s. Finally, Spider-Man was arguably the most relatable character of the Silver Age. Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created a hero who mirrored the average reader, a lower-middle-class, nerdy kid, empowered by his abilities. This character became a cultural phenomenon, deeply appealing to readers who saw themselves reflected in the pages, representing the purest form of the character. A viral food debate saw Theror distinguish idli from raskala, labeling idli a culinary marvel. In Middle East security news, Saudi Arabia reported the interception of 3 drones entering from Iraqi airspace. One drone struck a generator located outside the UAE's Baraka nuclear power plant in Al Dhafra. Officials confirmed that 2 unmanned aerial vehicles were intercepted, and one impacted outside the plant's inner perimeter, with no radiation risk reported. Riyadh issued a warning, reserving the right to respond to any threats against its sovereignty. Meanwhile, Iraq firmly rejected any allegations of being used as a launchpad for attacks, emphasizing its state control over weapons. Investigations are currently underway as security concerns across the Gulf region escalate. Shifting geopolitical dynamics are also drawing international scrutiny, as EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas has generated attention with an analogy involving elephants, while addressing growing tensions between the United States and China. Kallas cautioned that smaller nations could be vulnerable as major powers align, asserting that the US, China, and Russia are uneasy with a unified European Union, arguing that a strong Europe functions as an equal global power. These remarks come amidst mounting geopolitical tensions, trade uncertainties, and widespread fears regarding a world order increasingly dominated by superpower politics. Comic book artist Lee Garbett has revealed the creative freedom afforded to him by Marvel in reimagining the Daredevil series, stating that the company allowed him to cook and gave him total liberty to establish a new artistic vision for the iconic character. Garbett, a British artist, emphasized that his passion for Daredevil allowed him to respect the character's legacy while forging a distinct, gritty, noir-inspired tone for the new series, which features Matt Murdock as a law professor at Empire State University. Speaking ahead of his appearance at MCM Comic-Con London, Garbett discussed his artistic evolution and offered crucial advice for aspiring comic artists. He noted that he sought to create his own version of the character, even altering established elements like Daredevil's owl, and aimed to make the hero visually appealing, drawing inspiration from classic aesthetics without relying solely on existing references. In developing the villain Omen, Garbett focused on creating a character with depth, blending monastic elements with menace, and experimenting with costume design by merging a traditional superhero look with a darker, almost Sith-like vibe to move away from overly, clothesy aesthetics. Garbett's journey into comics began as a love for the medium, shifting towards concept art for games after discovering the mainstream acceptance of interesting works through titles like Frank Quitely's The Authority. He has since worked for major publishers including DC and Marvel, including on Spider-Man and Loki, Agent of Asgard, and is now contributing to the new Daredevil series. Regarding his workflow, Garbett highlighted the critical importance of page layout. He has evolved from drawing scripts without layouts to designing layouts first in 5-page bursts, scanning them, and printing them for light box presentation. This pre-planning ensures he knows the visual flow before focusing on the art itself. His key advice for artists centers on visual dynamism. It doesn't matter if you're drawing Galactus's head and then Ant-Man on the next panel. If they occupy the same space inside that panel, it's boring. He stressed the need to constantly move the camera around to keep the reader visually engaged, even during slower, emotional scenes, suggesting techniques like zooming in or shifting perspective. Garbett also shared the significant challenge of a creator-owned project, Skyward, where he struggled with the logistics of designing a world with extremely low gravity, ultimately solving the issue by imagining the setting as underwater. Garbett views events like Comic-Con as vital for gaining reader feedback and industry connections. He maintains that the core principle of comic art should be that a comic should be as enjoyable to read as to look at, prioritizing story first and visual execution second.